Not coming across all the way across the field on that one. Find a little cushion in the Wyoming zone and picked up 21 yards on the play. So it'll be 1st down and 10 at the Wyoming 17-yard line. The handoff is to someone who makes one man miss, and he loses the ball, and it's recovered in the end zone for a touchdown by who other but Scotty McKnight.
Scotty McKnight, and what a wacky way to get your first touchdown of the game. But listen to this crowd. This is exactly what this Buffaloes team needed. This could be the spark. As we said, they need something to really put them over the edge in the beginning of this game, and hopefully they can sustain that momentum. And I don't care how you get it, but that is 6 points, hopefully soon to be 7, and we are not even 2 minutes into the game.
And the Buffs are already on the scoreboard.
I think all our guys totally knew what we were capable of, and I think if you look at our there's a running game and our defense, and those are things that during camp we knew we were great in those areas of the game.
We're just making our game plan simple. Basically, we just didn't think. We ran around, made plays. Guys weren't worried about making mistakes, so we were able to do a lot of things defensively, just running around.
It's easy to stand outside the arena and point fingers and say you're not good enough and criticize, and be negative. But when you're in the arena and you're scrapping, you're never that far away from victory. You're never that far away from defeat.
Welcome to Buff Sports Radio, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Corey Jones, and I got plenty to talk about today, including the Buffaloes' first victory of the season. We will get to some Colorado soccer and plenty of other things as well. But for right now, I am joined in the studio by Cheng and David Starcer. Fellas, how you doing?
How about that open? We sound like a professional radio show now, guys.
You like that? You dig that?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It is true. The Buffaloes defeated the Wyoming Cowboys 24-0 Saturday, despite what you may believe. This did happen.
We won a game.
The rumors are true. Let's just get it out there and confirm it. The first victory of the season for the Golden Buffaloes. The Buffs got off to their first strong start of the season, their strongest start of the season, after unexpectedly dropping the team's first 2 games to rival CSU and Toledo last week. Quarterback Cody Hawkins returned from a concussion and directed 4 scoring drives, and Rodney Stewart returned from a hamstring injury to carry 32 times for 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. After allowing 77 points and 1,000 yards to its first 2 opponents, Colorado shut out the visiting Pokes and held them to 230 yards. And guys, we touched on this before the game and during the game on Saturday. We never expected to say it, but coming into that game at Folsom on Saturday, this was a definite must-win for this Buffaloes team.
I hate the term must-win, too. I think it's one of the most overused terms in sports.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it
Yes, it is.
In this context, though,
in this context, I think it was dead on because they looked awful. Weeks 1 and 2, and
and you had people calling for Coach Hawk's head, and there was a lot of criticism floating around. And here's my take on this victory. We'll say a good win, a necessary win, but by no means an impressive win.
Well, put it this way: if Hawkins had lost that game, his hot seat will be so hot that it should be on the sun.
Okay, I like that.
It will be burning. I mean, there's no way in the world he would survive losing to Wyoming.
You're right.
You already lost to Colorado State, and then you lost to hapless, or what seemed like hapless, Toledo.
Well, first of all, Cheng is carrying over his hot streak from last week with his one-liners.
I know, he's picking up right where he left off, isn't he?
Thank you.
Second of all, I was just going to ask you, you don't think this was an impressive win? I mean, I know it wasn't the best of opponents.
No,
that's exactly the key. You had a team that had quarterback woes, that they couldn't figure out the quarterback situation. They had, was it Robert Benjamin start the game? The guy comes in and goes 1 for 4 for 2 yards passing. And this is the guy that seems to have some legs. He's definitely a threat on the ground with his legs. And we remember back to the Toledo game, Aaron Opelt really walked all over this Buffaloes team. And so going into this matchup on Saturday, we knew for a fact that two things had to happen. One, the Buffaloes could not allow whoever was at the helm of this offense, whether it was Robert Benjamin or whether it was I believe the freshman Austin Carter-Samuels, whoever was under center, the Buffs had to do whatever they could to prevent either of these quarterbacks from throwing the long ball. And this is a quarterback duo, a tandem, if you will, that has yet to throw a touchdown. They did look good. The Cowboys looked good against Texas, but they did not score a single offensive touchdown against Texas. And so this offensive team really is diminished in its week. And we talk about Dave Christensen coming from Missouri, a program that has put up quite the impressive offensive numbers, but it is clearly evident that this team is in a transition right now and that he does not have the weapons. He does not have the Chase Daniels or the Jeremy McClains to be an offensive threat right now. And that was evident when they came to Folsom on Saturday.
Yeah, because on the scoreboard, it may say 24-0, and you see a big fat 0 on the scoreboard. But did you ever get the feeling that defense played a game that was well enough to be considered a shutout? Because I didn't.
I didn't either.
I mean, the defense was flying around. They made tackles. They finally wrapped up for once. But again, and I've been saying this the first 2 weeks, the defensive line, I mean, they improved, but they never stood out. It was just more like, the quarterbacks, like you said, Austin Carter-Samuels, Robert Benjamin, they just weren't ready to play. They just didn't have it, and we took advantage of it.
This is how I look at it. You kind of have to look at it in the context of the game, like you said, about it being a must-win game. Coming off these first 2 weeks, to shut out an opponent, despite, disregarding the fact that they are a team in transition, implementing a new offense, can't decide on who their starting quarterback was, maybe had an injury, their starting wide receiver, number one wide receiver, just coming back from an injury. They still shut out the opponent.
But Greg Bowling was not a factor at all in that game. He was not. Is that who you're referring to?
Yeah, that's
the wide receiver who returned.
One catch, 7 yards.
He did nothing, and that's the one thing, and I cut you off, David, but just want to make that point is, he came back, but I was expecting to be calling his name all day, and we weren't. Continue.
So I just look at it as in the context of the game, shutting out an opponent, actually establishing a running game that was supposed to be the strength of your team, and basically what it does is carrying this over into the West Virginia game, and then of course the rest of the season. It's a win that says this team could still turn things around because of a win. I'm trying to think of the term, the right word to use here.
Maybe Cheng
a jumpstart win. I don't know. A spark plug win to get things turned around. And I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying it could. And I liked what I saw in all phases of the game from the team.